A Texas gun owner awoke to a literal bump in the night, dogs barking, fearing the worst. The burglars were breaking into his home. He got his gun intent on protecting his family, but instead was shot by the police after they showed up at the wrong house. Now both sides are asking for the DA to press charges. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel with yet another story of police responding to the wrong house and shooting an innocent man. A man who, seeing shadowy figures outside his home with their guns drawn, assumed they were criminals trying to break into his home. Luckily, he survived to tell his side of the story, which is not often the case. But before I get into the details here, this video is brought to you by the Attorneys on Retainer program by the Attorneys for Freedom. Just like the name says, the folks with AOR are actual attorneys there to help you when you need it most. I have covered so many self-defense stories on my channel that end up with gun owners having to fight in court, and if that ever happens to you, you do not want to have to go it alone. They specialize in self-defense incidents, and a call to their hotline gives you immediate direct access to an attorney who starts on your case on the spot. It doesn't matter if you were in a gun-free zone, if it's a no-knock raid, if you get hit with felony charges, or were even technically a prohibited person. So long as you were a member at the time of the incident and acted in good faith, they will take your case and give it their all. They even cover appeals, bail bonds, and red flag hits. So to get an entire firm of attorneys in your corner, head on over to my link down in the description and use code LIBERTYDOLL to get $50 off your individual sign-up fee. Now back to this case. It happened only about a week ago on September 12th in Grand Prairie, Texas. At about 1:45 a.m., police responded to a 911 call for disturbance at a home in the 3000 block of Holly Hill Drive. But dispatch somehow gave the cops the wrong address. According to the department, the address associated with the caller's cell phone inaccurately auto-populated into the department's computer-aided dispatch system, causing officers to respond to the home of the caller's neighbor. Thomas Simpson, who rented the home, woke up when his dogs began barking. Thinking some intruders were outside, he grabbed his .45 and went to the garage. He began to open the garage, saying that he saw a pair of legs outside, and brandished his gun.
Grab my pistol, open this door, and as it's opening, I see two sets of legs on the other side in my driveway. So I raise my pistol. I don't know who it is. I'm assuming it's criminals, car thieves, whatever.
He could also see that the man was armed. But, he says, once the door got to a certain point, light hit the officer's badge just right, and he realized that they were cops. He says that he immediately dropped his gun.
Once I saw the sign off their badge from the lights, I tossed it to the side because I would have never raised my pistol if they would have identified themselves police or Grand Prairie police. Obviously, I'm not going to raise my gun to a cop, but I didn't know.
But the cops shot anyways. In fact, they shot 8 times, somehow managing to only hit him once and in the leg. Simpson was lucky in that the bullet passed through him without hitting bone or any major arteries. He said that when he was hit, he dropped to the ground, but they kept shooting into his garage.
I get shot in the leg, I drop to the ground to comply, and then they open fire inside the garage after I'm on the ground trying to comply.
In fact, they hit a water pipe, which flooded the house with 3 inches of water while Simpson and his family were detained for 4 hours.
Simpson says police forced him to drag himself down his driveway and handcuffed him and everyone inside his house.
Even my children, 13-year-old and 16-year-old, had to sit in the back of a cop car in handcuffs for 4 hours while I was at the hospital till I could come back here. There's no way that is standard procedure.
Luckily, he and his family were in the process of moving out, and so they didn't lose all of their things on top of it, which would have added insult to injury. But from evidence left behind, it's pretty lucky that no one else got shot either.
The one there, one down there, over in the wall there.
Simpson says his entire family was inside the home.
My wife in bed, and those shots are going straight towards her. So I was terrified that she got shot while she's in bed. There's one that they missed. My nephew was on the other side of this wall. He's lucky he didn't get hit.
Needless to say, Simpson thinks that this was excessive. It was after the fact that police realized they were at the wrong house. Now, all of that is bad enough, but now police are asking the DA to charge Simpson with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon against a peace officer. The district attorney office has a policy of responding to all officer-involved shootings in Dallas County. The Dallas County DA's officer-involved shooting team was called to the scene and are doing an independent investigation, which many people will have zero confidence in, but it's better than the police department investigating themselves. Police say that they knocked on the door in a well-lit area at nearly 2 a.m. for 5 minutes. Simpson said that they didn't announce themselves at all, not at the front door and certainly not when he opened the garage door. It's possible that they did knock and announce and he didn't hear it, but only body cam footage will tell us if that's true and if they said anything at all indicating who they were once the garage started opening. They also say that Simpson pointed his gun at them. That too remains to be seen. But we also have to remember that Texas has strong self-defense laws. They have one of the strongest castle doctrine statutes in the country, which reads that a person is justified in using deadly force against someone else if they knew or had reason to believe someone had unlawfully entered or was attempting to enter their home, vehicle, or place of employment. It also says that if someone has the right to be at that location, did not provoke the person they used force against, and is not engaged in criminal activity, there is no duty to retreat. And according to Simpson, he did believe the people outside were criminals. And when the shooting happened, he was inside his garage, which is part of the home. On top of it, some reports suggest that the police entered the garage, and without a warrant. A former county prosecutor told local Fox 4 that it's likely the case will head to a grand jury. He said that Simpson's rights will come into play in any decisions. It also invokes the Graham factors, which was a Supreme Court decision in Graham v. Connor, where the court said that, when analyzing claims of excessive force under the Fourth Amendment, objective reasonableness needs to be taken into account. In that case, a diabetic having a blood sugar issue ran out of a convenience store because it was overcrowded. Police thought it was suspicious, followed him, and stopped his car. He tried to tell them that he was diabetic and run around the car, but they cuffed him, did not allow him to drink his orange juice, didn't listen to him, or check his ID, or medical info in his wallet. He then fell, hit his head, cut his wrist, broke his foot, injured his shoulder, and damaged his ear. In the case, SCOTUS said that you have to look at these cases objectively to see what was reasonable given the facts the officers had at the time. This includes the severity of the crime at issue, whether there is an immediate safety threat, if the suspect was resisting arrest, and if the suspect was in the act of fleeing. A couple of those items don't fit here, but under that, the cops could have a case saying that they were in fear for their lives, though we don't know the reason for the original 911 call that officers thought they were responding to, as those details have not been released. We also have Tennessee v. Garner, another SCOTUS decision, that says deadly force can only be used when there is a significant threat of death or serious physical injury, which they could argue, but it also says that officers should give a verbal warning first. This is also true via the Fifth Circuit, who, in Singleton v. Casanova, said that even if a suspect is armed, a warning must be given, if feasible, before the use of deadly force. This is considered critical for risk assessment and de-escalation. And since we are talking about a garage door here, I think that they would have had time to announce themselves and give warning. If they didn't warn Simpson or announce themselves directly to him, that could fall again in his favor and his reasonable belief that he and his family were in danger and that he needed to defend them. After all, they were at the wrong house. Legally, under the charges the cops are asking for, the prosecution would have to prove that Simpson knew he was pointing his gun at the cops. With what we know, that doesn't seem to fit the bill, and hopefully a grand jury would review the evidence and agree. Simpson, meanwhile, plans to sue on Fourth Amendment grounds. After all, again, the cops showed up to the wrong home, shot him, flooded his house, and could have easily killed him and his family.
Say I saw their daddy get shot. We're gonna talk to lawyers and go after everybody responsible for it. They need to pay. They need to learn there's consequences to their actions. They will pay for their mistakes. All of us are extremely lucky nobody got killed.
In fact, showing up at the wrong house does often end in the homeowners being killed or having severe damage to their property. It's not safe for either party. And it places innocent people in a position of whether or not to protect and defend themselves against what is an unknown threat, or face being shot by the cops. Either we have the right to defend ourselves in our homes, or we don't. And yet, the police have not released the footage. They are not releasing the details on the original 911 call and are instead seeking felony charges over their mistake. They also keep pointing out that, well, it couldn't be that bad because the man is alive and was able to walk to the ambulance. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this video. Hopefully we will get some body cam footage here eventually, or the grand jury will rule in Simpson's favor. Until then, and any updates, you guys know the drill for all of the algorithm things. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you are new here, ring that notification bell. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe out there, and happy shooting.